EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martin here with your outlook for September 22nd, 2023. It is Friday, end of the work week. It's been a very nice work week. That's about to change here as we head into the weekend. The Friday video forecast is proudly sponsored by McCall Collective Brewing. McCall is a family-owned and operated brewery with 2 locations in the Lehigh Valley. Their original Southside Allentown location is at 102 East Susquehanna Street, and their second location, McCall Collective Tap House in Trexlertown, is located at 7743 Hamilton Boulevard. Both locations are open 7 days a week and have a full food menu, plenty of beer to choose from for both dine-in or takeout, along with local wine and cocktails, and a brand new food menu was released at Tap House, so you want to check that out and make sure you come hungry. By the way, a lot of rain coming this weekend. You don't have to worry about rain at the brewery because at either location, you can just go indoors and you can enjoy yourself. So you had your plans canceled for this weekend because you had some outdoor event you wanted to go to and you looking for something to do. They have football on. They have all the beer your heart desires, and great food and a great time. So check them out for more information about that and all of their upcoming events. Visit their Facebook page, and to place online orders, visit their website, mccallcollectivebrewing.com. Proud sponsors of the Friday video forecast. Okay, so this is technically, it is called Potential Tropical Cyclone 16. I will tell you, it is a subtropical storm right now. Okay, they're not making that designation. Again, this is, and I talked about this the last couple of days. This is a matter of semantics. If you remember back to Hurricane Sandy, and this is no relation to that. Okay, so I'm not going there. If you remember, there was a big controversy over the fact that it was a hurricane, and then technically it did become post-tropical, and they dropped the hurricane wording before landfall in New Jersey, and there was a big. Everybody was up in arms about that because it was still just as impactful. It doesn't matter what they classified this. Yes, technically they were correct with that, and they're correct in this situation too, that it is not, they're not messing with the names here. Even though, if you look at the National Hurricane Center track here, it is a subtropical storm right now. Hands down, okay? And the dead giveaway here, obviously, even if you don't know much about the upper levels and lower levels and all that works, I don't expect you to. Look at the maximum sustained winds right now is 40 miles per hour. Guess what? That is a tropical storm strength force wind right there. So that should be a tropical storm. The problem is it's not warm cored yet. Okay, so the core of the system has to be warm in the column all the way up from top to bottom, and it's not. The upper levels are still colder, and near surface where all the thunderstorms are, or not near surface, but slightly above the surface there, the base of the column, the base of that is warm. So it is a hybrid system right now, and it's technically a subtropical storm because it's producing tropical storm force winds right now. Okay, so it does. They didn't change the designation here because once it gets to later today, they're expecting this to become warm cored all the way through the column, making it a true tropical storm, not subtropical anymore. Subtropical storms cannot become hurricanes, but they can transition into regular tropical storms that have a warm core to them and eventually hurricanes. This is not expected to be a hurricane because it's not going to make landfall. It's going to make it once it becomes a tropical storm, it doesn't have enough time really to strengthen to that speed, but it's expected to be about 60 miles per hour right before landfall. So that's still a formidable tropical storm, and it's going to make landfall here in parts of North Carolina. Somewhere in North Carolina. And then continue up toward the Chesapeake. It becomes a tropical depression, a post-tropical depression when it gets up here. But when it's a post-tropical depression, it's technically a nor'easter at that time when it's affecting us. So you can't make this stuff up. There's a lot of technical jargon going on here, but the bottom line is the impacts is all that matters, and the impacts will not change no matter what they name it or what you want to call it. It's still going to be the same. So we're going to run through those impacts today and what we're going to deal with, and a little bit of timing with this, and give you a generalized timing and what to expect from this particular system. Now, we do plan on having rain maps out and wind maps out that on probably our weather alerts page kind of like we do on wintertime. Is not just a winter thing. We have that, we kind of need to practice anyway to making those maps. So we are going to have a rain wind map and a full discussion on weather alerts at some point today. I believe 5 o'clock. We'll probably put it up at 5 o'clock because that's the usual time for winter storms too. We do that. So we'll kind of put that up there, have a full discussion of everything. So I'm not going to go into total rain amounts for this as much here in this video because you'll be able to see that later today. And we will link to that, of course, in our social media channels. This will make landfall as a tropical storm, a true tropical storm right here on the eastern part of somewhere in coastal North Carolina. The rain shield will come in this evening in our southeastern areas and work its way northwestward overnight. And you will have some showers initially. As you can see, it's not really heavy, particularly heavy overnight. But when we get into Saturday morning, it does get a little heavier. And then there could be a break in the action, which I'm going to show you in a minute, before this low pressure moves off to the north. It weakens as it does so, moving over land. So we're just mainly dealing with showers and some periods of rain here on Sunday as well. How long that lasts is still in question, but I think it's going to move out kind of later in the day, and then it'll be out of here by maybe a shower lingering in our northern or northeastern areas Sunday evening, but that should be about it. So that's a broad overview. Just wanted to show you what that looks like, and that moves away. I do think that Monday is spared. I know people are probably saying, well, that's just typical. The entire weekend is ruined, and of course we go back to work and it's sunny again, right? Well, it is what it is. That's what happens. But this is going to move away, and then we are going to have high pressure built in behind this. I'm giving you the week overview first before we get into the specifics. And then we get into next week, Monday, Tuesday, partly to mostly cloudy those 2 days with this high pressure trying to nose in here. And then we're back to partly cloudy skies both Wednesday and Thursday. So, yes, we will have the sun come back next week, but temperatures are going to be in the upper 60s to near 70, not particularly warm, compared to what we've been recently. So it is going to be taking a step back a little bit in temperatures as we head into next week as well, with that high pressure in control. So we will have nice weather next week, of course, as the system leaves. Now let's start get into the timing here and the impacts and what we can expect, right? So this is looking at 9 o'clock this evening. In our southeast of I-95, I think you can get some showers working in mid to late evening, okay? When I say mid to late evening, I'm talking between 9 and midnight, okay? So you have up until 9 o'clock, I think you're okay. Might have a few showers sneak into, say, Philadelphia, like late evening, but I think the Phillies game tonight in South Philadelphia should be okay. Maybe a spotty shower here toward the end of the game or something, but that's it. That's their game 2 of the series against the New York Mets. This weekend's going to be tough, though, in Philadelphia. We'll get to that in a second, too. So this is going to spread off to the north and west. And again, it's a lot of the interior, anyway, is just going to be showers initially, overnight, okay? And mainly after midnight for these areas up north and west. South and east of 995, when you get down in here, you start getting a little bit of some of these heavier bands coming northward, right? And that's going to come in here for Saturday morning. So Saturday morning, I think that's going to overspread the area. You can see that the heavier returns on here. So this is going to be a very wet Saturday morning, I think, and then it's going to go into the afternoon, and that spreads northward. Notice there's a gap in here, in between here. So this is not going to be a constant rainfall the entire weekend. You're going to have some lulls in here. So you get that initial wave move through where you get the heavier band. It's like an outer band of a hurricane, basically, but it's not a hurricane or a tropical storm anymore at this point. It's already weakened down to a post-tropical depression at this point, or a nor'easter, okay, whatever. But you have this long lull in here. Now, I'm going to stop this right here at 6 p.m. Now, there is a game here scheduled in South Philadelphia for 4:05 here on Saturday. There might be, if this lull gets in here and stays long enough, there might be an opportunity to get this game in, because it doesn't get to Philadelphia here on the NAM anyway until between 7 and 8 o'clock. The whiteout game in State College is also happening at 7:30 on Saturday. Here, 7 o'clock, you might have a spotty shower in the area, but it looks like most of this game is okay. You might get to the in the second half, might get some showers working in from the southwest, and this is 10 o'clock, and State College is right here, okay? So it's not quite into this rain yet, but it is moving toward you. So toward the end of the game, you might have some showers working in there, and just maybe something spotty during the game. I think you're okay for most of that game. Bloomsburg Fair's going on. The Celtic Festival's going on. There's a lot of events across New Jersey. There's Jersey Shore points. You will have that heavier rain overnight into the morning, and then you're going to have that break in the action. South Jersey, I don't think you get much of a break. You still have some showers around, but in the interior, you could have a break in the action here for some time before that next batch moves in overnight. And again, this is just showers at this point. The low actually is out here, okay? So this is just showers and synoptic rainfall at this point. It's going to continue overnight, Saturday night into Sunday morning, and this is going to continue here on Sunday as well. Now, I like going over to the RGEM here because this does a 1 hour precipitation. It's not a simulated radar, but it shows you the total amount of rain that falls in each hour as you move forward. So this is the end of the 3 kilometer NAM. It can't go any further. It stops at hour 60. We're going to pick this up from that same point on the RGEM just to see what this does. And it's almost like a simulated radar. You can see what it's doing. And it pulls away during the afternoon, late afternoon, and early evening. Still some lingering showers up here into Sunday evening in our far northeastern and northern areas here. But that's it. I think after that, we're going to be done with this system. Now, going back to this picture, what I started off with, which is this right here. Okay. Now, before this, and this is this evening. Let me get to the new run. This is this evening. Now, you're going to have a very strong fetch off this, going with the flow around the tropical storm like that. You also have high pressure, very strong high pressure that's sitting right here. That's also bringing in a fetch here off the ocean around that high. So you have a double whammy here. We're going to have a little bit of a pressure gradient. So that's going to create a wind issue, most notably near the coast, but also inland a little bit. You're going to have some gusty winds as a result of that pressure gradient. Near the coast, you're going to have some coastal flooding issues because you're going to have some storm surge. It won't be much, but there will be some storm surge that's going to increase the water level above normally dry ground by a couple feet, and that's right along the immediate shore points. The winds along the shore points, there's a high wind warning along all of our coastal areas from South Jersey through the Delaware beaches down to Ocean City, Maryland, for 20 to 40 mile per hour gusts, and then isolated gusts as high as 60 miles per hour right along the immediate coast. But even further northwest, we're going to have issues with that as well. And here's the wind part of it. This is the other aspect. I will tell you there's no severe weather prospects with this. There's no thunder and lightning expected with this. We're looking at if there is an area that might see a brief spin up, it would have to be down here. Have to be down here because you have to be, the low pressure sitting right here. That's where your potential for a brief spin up is going to be. That would be the area that would be not northwest of there. It's going to be too stable. And you're going to be pretty cool here on Saturday as well. You can see above me, 58 to 68 is the spread in temperatures. That 68 is going to be all the way down here in those warm areas. And most of us in the interior are going to be in the upper 50s to low 60s on Saturday. It's going to be chilly. But here's the wind going forward here, and it's going to increase after midnight Saturday night. And here's those winds right along the immediate shore. This is what I'm talking about. There's some wind gusts here that are 45 to 55 miles per hour. Right along that immediate coast of from the Delaware beaches all the way up through South Jersey because of that strong fetch that I told you about between the high pressure and the tropical storm off to the south. So as we go through Saturday, the winds are going to increase and spread out and move more into the interior. So we're going to have some gusts in the interior that are going to be in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range at times, especially when we get into later Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening. I think it's your worst period for the interior as far as wind is concerned. And then as that low pressure weakens, these winds are going to die down. As we get into Sunday, you just have some showers and periods of rain, but the winds are much more manageable here on Sunday. So is there some power outage concerns? Yes. I know it's not really high wind outside of the immediate coastal areas, but we have a prolonged wind event where you have a lot of wind that's going to be over several hours. That has potential to be at least 20 to 30, if not higher than that. And in some areas, we'll get 30 to 40 for a while. But that's almost like a window of almost 12 hours where you're going to have that. And you're going to have heavy rain, saturated ground. Weaker trees will not be able to withstand that, even though they're not really incredibly high winds. Okay, so you're going to have some power outages with this. And we'll outline all these impacts and exactly how much rainfall we're expecting from this system, once we get to the... once we have the weather alerts updated today at what I'm projecting to be 5 o'clock. But here's what the RGM has for total precipitation. There's a lot of rain out of this, okay? So we'll have to look at exactly, this might not be exactly what our map looks like. This might be a little bit overdone here, but I think in general 1 to 2 inches with some isolated amounts that are going to be up to 3 inches is a good safe bet right now, especially when you're down in these areas down here across Maryland, South Central PA, parts of Delaware. Those areas probably have the best chance of seeing some amounts that are going to be 3 inches and maybe even more than that in some places, okay? But the rest of us here, I think, are going to be primarily in the 1 to 3 inch range, okay? And we'll narrow that down with our map today when we have that out. But that's a look at the storm, and I think that covers all the impacts that we will be dealing with this event. I don't expect any surprises, sudden shifts. This is what it is. We're just gonna have to, it's a good weekend to watch college football and pro football. If you don't have your plans were canceled, just sit around and veg. That's what I plan on doing. Or you could go to McCall's and get some beer. I'm EPAWA meteorologist Bobby Martrich. That is your outlook for September 22nd, 2023. Have a great Friday.